Toyota brought what might be the ultimate sleeper car to this year's SEMA show. A supercharged version of the Tundra's 5.7-liter V8 transmission, rear axle, and electronics running a wet nitrous system add up to one thing. A Camry, using that name loosely, of course, built for one purpose, and that, of course, is drag racing.
I know where I want to be right now. It's one of the biggest gatherings of everyone who is anybody in the automotive world, the Specialty Equipment Market Association show, SEMA for short, where there is more car news and toys per square foot than anywhere in the world. So welcome back the only person we turn to for everything automotive, nationally recognized expert, the car coach. Read her every day at her website, laurenfix.com, from Las Vegas and the SEMA show. That's why she's not on Skype today, because she's busy out there driving the cars that I wish I could get a chance to. Pedal to the metal with Lauren Fix. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Ed. Yeah, it's crazy here. It's probably a record show, which is a good showing based on the election. People are spending money, so that's good news.
That's the other thing I think we need to point out, too, that even with all the problems and all the differences and all the airbag recalls and the recalls, when you get to a show like this, it does tell you people are still spending money on automobiles. You've just got to hit them in the right spot. And SEMA's got such a sweet spot for all the toys there. That's an easy place to blow all your cash.
Absolutely, and definitely the economy is reflected on the attendance. In past years, like '09, it was so quiet, and you'd walk the show and you thought, is it the last day of the show? There's no one here. Where this year, SEMA has been very busy. The Apex show, which is the everyday things, like Lexol, leather cleaners, and things like that, they're actually as busy as well. So it's a good showing that people are spending money, and we like to hear that in the auto industry.
Yes, we do. Now let's go ahead and talk about something else in the auto industry, airbags. And this is a story we've been following for a long time. Now, apparently, Takata, the makers of the airbags that have been explosive, if you will, says, gee, we don't know when we're going to have enough parts to deal with the recall here. What is this about?
Well, again, this is NHTSA, because originally when the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration made an agreement with Takata, because they knew there were airbag problems, what they had said to them was, let's call this, like a regional recall. Just keep it really low key, which makes no sense when consumers are involved, especially people with high mileage cars. A car that's 10 years old is going to have 100,000 miles on it. A car that's brand new is going to be different. Now, most of these vehicles are Hondas, and these are things, if you own a Honda, please get your vehicle identification number off the dashboard where it meets the windshield and write down that number and call the service department, your local Honda dealer. They don't have enough airbags, and they're letting people drive in the streets with these dangerous cars, and they're saying, well, it's only humid areas. That's not true. It's humid everywhere at some point in the country. I was just in Georgia, not on the recall list. It should be. Oklahoma, all these, even New York up in the Northeast, we get humidity, and because of that, those airbag deployments that are actually like IEDs are actually possible to kill people. We've had 4 deaths, hundreds of injuries. And, we have now a national recall, and now the federal government wants to get involved.
Well, that's just it. We're all in recalls here, Lauren. Isn't it fair to say they still don't understand the nature of why this happened in the first place, and that has to go with NHTSA?
The only thing they can come up with right now is that when the airbags were manufactured by Takata, whether they were U.S.-made or Japanese-made, they were stored in a warehouse that had humidity. In other words, those little packets, those desiccant packs you get with, like, you buy with your bags and your shoes.
Hold up the
those
condensation,
weren't in those. Right, so that condensation just sat there. Now, it takes a while for condensation to turn into rust and then eventually cause those discharge units to deploy. And now it's happening. So this is telling you that this was just bad storage on the manufacturer's standpoint. This is going to be record fines. We're talking about fines higher than anything that GM has ever recognized. And, I'm sure GM's happy to have the eyes off of them and onto this airbag deployment issue for sure.
Well, with the GMIs, you're right back on them again, because here we go 9 months after they began recalling a lot of their cars, millions of cars, and this is that defective ignition switch. We've still got reports that half the vehicles still haven't been fixed.
That's true, and right now there's a team of 72 different employees that are dedicated to contacting those people from GM corporate to schedule repairs because they just haven't done it. And the dealers are managing these wait lists and dozens of people that are asking, and they can't get these switches in fast enough. So what GM has decided to do, and I give them creativity bonus points for this, they're offering gift cards as a bait for owners to get their recall cars fixed. So they're saying Starbucks, Bass Pro Shop, and other retailers to nearly 1 million owners of recalled cars with faulty ignition switches to get them fixed.
All right, I only got a couple of minutes here. Let's go quick through this because I got one last thing I want to make sure we hit. $350 million settlement, Hyundai and Kia Motors, that the automakers inflated their fuel economy ratings. How concerned should consumers be that this happens with a lot of cars?
It happens with a lot of cars, and my opinion is don't believe the number on the window sticker. Those are not real-life driving situations. They're all done with E0, which means no ethanol in the gasoline. We all buy 10% ethanol, which is 30% less energy per gallon. So any number you see on that window sticker, there's no way it's going to be what you and I do in real life. So you're going to have to look at some of the car reviewers out there, including myself, see what kind of real numbers we're getting. We never, ever get what's on the window sticker.
Take it from the people who want the manufacturers basically giving you the numbers. And finally, here's a guy, I spent my time on the quarter-mile tracks, loved my Mopars growing up. I saw this. I said, we had to talk about it. This is at the SEMA show. They're talking recently about a 700-horsepower Dodge. Now here is a 10,000-horsepower dragster. Please put it in a bag and bring it to me, if you will. This is astounding.
I can try to do that. It's a little large for my check-on baggage, but the Hellcat you can buy with 707 horsepower, does 204 miles an hour. Let's use that on the track, please, not on the street. But now there's a new rocket on wheels. It churns out 10,000 horsepower. Yes, that's a quarter mile in under 4 seconds and at a top speed of 320 miles per hour. These are for the pros. This is, you're talking like John Force type of drivers. These are not meant for the average person. But I tell you what, Mopar's really stepped up their game. They've got high third quarter profits from their Jeep and their Dodge Ram sales and their car sales. And hey, you know what? Everybody's here. With even Hyundai's got a 700 horsepower Genesis. And you've got, of course, I have to say, Ford's bringing back the Mustang King Cobra, and they had Richard Petty here to do so. So this is all cars all the time, and I've been posting stuff as quick as I can on the internet.
So here's what we have to do. We come to the last part of the show here. I wanted to talk about my love for Mopar, and you had to make sure that you stuck in a note about a Ford, right? You had to do that.
I knew I had to do that.
Every time. Fix, I'm telling you, we're going to have to talk about this one of these days.
Well, you know what? There's other cars out there on the market, and I have to say there's some great manufacturers putting out great products, not just the Germans, not just the Japanese. Everybody stepped up their game. The market is still very strong, not just the aftermarket, but the current production cars. And if you're looking at buying a car, my number one rule, never, ever, ever pay retail. I don't care what it is.
There you go. All right. And by the way, if they're ever giving out rides for the press in the 10,000 horsepower car, I'm taking one. Lauren Fix, and it's laurenfix.com. Have a great time out in Las Vegas, Lauren. Talk to you next week.
Thanks, Ed. Take care.
All right. Coming up next, the Money Master, right here on MidPoint.